Welcome back to Point Serve. This is the leadership podcast of Crosspoint Church in Beckley, West Virginia. My name is Vondi Cook. I am the lead pastor here at Crosspoint and want to thank you so much for being a part of this, because I know with all the podcasts out there, you could easily watch something else. You could fill your time with something else. So why another podcast? Well, the one here at Crosspoint is a little bit different. Point Serve is about teaching servant leadership. And servant leadership, I believe, was that leadership style demonstrated by Jesus Christ and made popular by Robert Greenleaf here in the later 20th century. And I think it really fits with our 21st century audience. It fits with our 21st century model. And so those are some of the things we're going to talk about. We want to help you improve your leadership, whether you are in the marketplace or you're in the church world, education, government, no matter where you find yourself. We hope that this will help you very, very much. And today we're going to talk about some ideas that we found. A man by the name of Dennis Snow wrote a book on some things that Disney has taught us as far as servant leadership is concerned. Our staff went through this a few months ago, and it's Lessons from the Mouse if you want to go ahead and get the book. But in one of the chapters within this book, we found something that I think fits very well within servant leadership characteristics that we've talked about over the last year of listening, empathy, healing, awareness, persuasion, conceptualization, foresight, building community, growth of people, and stewardship. All of those pieces that we have talked about, I believe this helps us put some on the ground pieces to go over with that. So if you'll indulge me today here on Point Serve, we're going to talk about some of the things that Dennis Snow shared with us. The first thing that he said when it comes to the leadership position where you are, he said, have fun with the job no matter how miserable you feel. Have fun with the job no matter how miserable that you feel. Think about that a minute. Everybody gets miserable occasionally. Every one of us get miserable in what we're doing. There are not good days every day. We know that. Yet on those down days, I think maybe even especially on those down days, as a servant leader, making sure that you rise above how you feel. Because feelings are fickle and they change, and they are based on other experiences, typically not what you're doing at that time. So many times when we think about the job that we have and what we're called to do, those feelings will come based on a conversation, based on conflict, based on something else that happened, not even related to what you're doing that particular day. But if we are going to rise above those feelings, if we're going to rise above them and have fun with the job, we have to understand that we need to place ourselves where we are the most needed. Every position that you and I will ever be a part of has parts of the job that we just don't like. There are things that we just absolutely do not like to do. Back when I was in college, I managed a yogurt shop in Central Florida. And that particular yogurt shop, it wasn't a massive chain. It was just a local yogurt shop. But there were things I despised to do. And the biggest thing was you had to clean out the yogurt machines every evening. You had to clean those things out. And I despised cleaning those things out every evening. Yet, you couldn't open up the next day if you didn't do that. So we tried to figure out ways that we could have some fun with that. We would trade off. Different people would do different parts of the cleanup procedure. We tried to figure out how to take something that we really didn't like doing and make some fun out of it. You see, all of us are going to have to take parts of what we do and make some fun in that process. So if there's something that is a part of your job as a leader, what will you take that negative and make it a positive? What will you do to, as the leader, to bring in when people just don't like it, when they don't like the process? How will you as a leader come along and say, let's make this fun. Let's make sure that when our customers, our guests, the people that arrive to take part in what we're doing, let's make sure that we do everything in our power to where even if I feel miserable, they'll never know it. They'll not get to the place to where they can see that with me. Let's make sure that we don't forget what we're supposed to be about. And you see, a servant leader understands that their role is to serve others around them. Because I'll guarantee you, as any leader, you have a lot on your plate. You have things that you want to do. You have things and places that you want to go and things that need to be accomplished. But you've got to get to the place to where you understand that meeting the needs of those around you has to sometimes break into your calendar. It has to break into what you're planning on doing. And that break-in will create a conflict, maybe just inside of you, but it will create that kind of a conflict that you have a choice to make at that moment. What will I do? And so when you begin to process that, how do I give myself an opportunity to have fun with what I really don't like to do? How can I walk my way through that? How can I piece my way into that? And that'll be different for everybody. Because again, our schedules are different, our guests are different, all of the people that we walk with and work with, all of that will be different as they are different. Yet you as that leader step in and say, I will do my best to figure out what I can do to help them. If it's a customer coming in the door, make eye contact. If it's someone that you know well, maybe a hug is appropriate, always a side hug, not a front hug, but a side hug. You have to figure out what you can do in order to make them feel better. Also, you need to figure out how to do these things. Even if you're unhappy, you need to figure out how not to make it look like a robot's doing it. You need to make sure that it feels genuine. You see this in Walmart greeters. There are some people who are Walmart greeters that absolutely love it. They look at every individual person when they come into that store and they treat them like they're the only person they've seen all day. Then you can also tell those that are miserable doing that maybe they need to be in the back room somewhere stocking shelves. Maybe they need to begin to process some of those things. But those Walmart greeters that are really good at saying, this is my job and I will do it to the very best of my ability. They learn to smile. They'll talk to the customers. They'll spend some time with them. They'll banter back and forth with them. They'll allow themselves to be a part of that. I've also learned that leaders will connect with the people around them. Leaders that decide today is going to be a good day, regardless of how I feel, regardless of what's going on in my life, I'm going to connect with them. Another thing we need to remember, if we're going to have fun, especially doing the things that we don't always like to do, don't take yourself too seriously. Don't take yourself too seriously. All of us want to do a good job. All of us want to make sure that what we're doing is the very best, especially as believers in Jesus Christ. We're not working for the boss. We're not working for the corporation. We are working as unto the Lord. So we want to do our best. But at the same time, don't take yourself so seriously that you aren't able to smile. And if anything goes wrong, assess it very quickly. We had a fella here a couple weeks ago that spoke to us by the name of Fred Stokes, and Fred's got some things coming out, but he said, take a second to evaluate. Anytime something new comes along, take a second to evaluate that. And bear in mind that when you are meeting with people, you're being paid to have fun. You're being paid to have fun with them. If that's your job, if you're dealing with them face to face, try to create an atmosphere where they are enjoying that encounter with you. And then if you're just really having a terrible bad day, can I tell you a secret? Some days you just have to fake it. You just have to put on a face, put on a happy face, and go on. Because everybody's struggling, everybody's walking through difficult moments. Everybody has hurts. Everybody has those things happening in their lives. You know those people that nothing is ever good. Nothing is ever positive. Nothing is ever good enough, even when they have everything they want. And we have to get to the place to where we understand that, because whatever we're doing, remember that you are trying to influence and impact people for good. You're trying to impact them for the good of what dwells inside of you, for the product that you're selling them, for what they come in and they feel that they need. You are trying to do something good for them. You say, Vondi, does it go well every time? No, it doesn't. But guess what? Even Babe Ruth struck out way more than he hit. And we need to understand that. We need to realize that we don't take ourselves so seriously that we miss the joy and the fun. Are we doing serious work? Absolutely. Should it be something that we throw together? Absolutely not. But there's also a time when we, as people who are doing our best in the marketplace, in the church world, nonprofits, education, medicine, government, wherever you find yourself today, realize that as a servant leader, try to engage those folks and let them know that you are genuinely happy they're there. That will build community, and it might just help not only in the growth of them, but it will help in the growth of you. And you'll utilize a number of those servant leadership characteristics in everything we talked about today. So if you'd like to get the book, Dennis Snow, Lessons I Learned from a Mouse, I would recommend that you read that. I think it will help your leadership today. Thank you so much for joining us today on Point Serve. I hope you found something that you can take home. Also want you to know that we have a new email. It's pointserve@beckleycrosspoint.org, pointserve@beckleycrosspoint.org. Please send us a note. Let us know that you're listening and a part of that. Also, I want to thank Mike Smith, who is our production coordinator today for Point Serve. Could not be here without him and the work that he does, and all the folks at Crosspoint. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, which I believe you are, go to that like button. Let us know that you like it. That really helps us as we're trying to know if we're touching people with Point Serve. Have a great rest of the day, and remember, even a mouse can teach us a few things.